So you guys seen the attack on the woman in Charlotte, the Ukrainian, basically immigrant. I believe her name was Irania or something like that. It was a brutal attack, and as you guys see the title, it was a brutal attack, and of course it was egregious, and all of the above. Really, it was just unprecedented attack against this woman for absolutely no reason. From what I've seen, it's just absolutely mind-boggling what happened. I couldn't even watch the full video. I haven't. If there is a full video, I just seen where they stopped it right before he stabbed her, essentially. And it was just I just can't even look at that kind of thing. But uh, it was just horrible to see. But what what I've been seeing online is it's been basically this left wing, right wing thing that the right wing wants to make it in terms of the current officials want to start blaming the Democrats or for the crime and in the cities. Is even though it's completely ridiculous because Charlotte doesn't even have uh, some of the high crime rates in some of the other cities like Memphis, Jackson, Tennessee, or Jackson, Mississippi, which I'm close to, equally close to both Memphis and Jackson. And you turn on the local news for either place is something every day of a killing or something of like that. But they want to focus on really major Democratic cities and Democratic states, and it's just getting noticeably just very noticeable that they are just trying to target these places and looking for anything that they can do to propagandize that these cities and states are just crime ridden, and all there is just crime in these places, and these people are soft on crime, and all these claims are just ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. And as sad as it is, I think that they're just using this whole thing as a political tool to, honestly just own the libs. And this is where, you see a lot of conservatives, especially around me in Mississippi here, they're just whole mentality is own the libs, own the libs. And I think this is just really what it is. It comes down to owning the libs because obviously crimes like this happen a lot all over the country, right? And they're trying to make it seem like this happens. This is like a one-time thing, or it's just this one instance where it's really horrible. I mean, I've seen crimes like this, around me in red states, and it doesn't get this huge national coverage. So just one that this, as bad as it is, it happens uh, kind of frequently in a large country with 300 million plus people like the United States. But they just try to focus on major cities, major blue states, and blue cities. If he really wanted to, go after crime, he'd go after Memphis and Jackson, like I said. But either way, I don't condone. Like I said, I'm not protecting the man who killed her. They are also just saying that they've let him off like a million times. One thing, he went to jail for 6 years, so that's also doesn't really hold that much water. He did also get into some altercation like 4 years ago, and it seems like he didn't get in any trouble for that, which I don't condone. But I just wanted to point out that this obviously happens all over, and not just in blue cities. And blue cities like Charlotte is probably more safe than a lot of red cities. But all right, so guys, I wanted to show you this X post here by Stephen Miller, obviously a prominent Republican government official. He post this on X here. I just wanted to read it for you. It says the Democrat Party at every level, judges, politicians, academics, nonprofits, is organized around the defense and protection of the criminal, the monstrous, and the depraved. The more vile the threat, the more vociferously the Democratic Party works to protect and enable it. Okay? All right, this is also ridiculous, guys. I mean, his own president, the man he vouches for, all day, every day, and his loyalist is a criminal. He has 34 convicted felonies. And he released all the January 6ers, people that killed police officers, pepper sprayed them in their eyes. One man a police officer had to be transported to the hospital and then died the next day of a stroke. Beating police officers with flags, and even after pardoning them, one guy got killed by a police officer because he was making threats with a gun, and he got shot by a police officer. One guy that he pardoned was arrested again shortly after because of luring in a child for sex. This is absolutely ridiculous that, he's trying to say that the Democratic Party is the party that's, advocating for crime or whatever it is. That's just not true. And it's your party, Stephen Miller. But let me show you guys this video here of Donald Trump. And this just proves that he's searching or, fishing for a crimes in Democratic states and cities only, and that he's not really interested in the red states. Here it is.
Mr. President, why target Chicago and Boston when there are cities in red states with higher crime rates?
Yeah. Really higher than Chicago?
There are, like Memphis and St. Louis.
Excuse me. You know how many people were killed in Chicago last weekend? 8. You think there's worse than that? I don't think so.
But FBI statistics show otherwise. The red state cities of Memphis and St. Louis have significantly higher murder rates than both Boston and Chicago.
And Lizzie, this comes as South Korea has reached a deal with the U.S. to release more than 300 workers who were detained during an immigration raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia last week. That operation rattled a close U.S. ally, but plans are now underway to fly them home on a chartered flight. Lindsay?
Selena Wang from the White House for us. Selena, thank you.
And there you have it, guys. Memphis, St. Louis, whatever whatever city, a red city you want to, and there you have it, guys. Obviously doesn't have any interest in raiding a red state or red, city within a red state. As he says, all he wants is Chicago. All he's thinking is about Chicago, and St. Louis and Memphis are way worse in terms of murder rate than those two cities. That right there proves that it's just a political tool that he's trying to do, and I feel so bad that this woman who was obviously brutally murdered is being used as this tool for this Republican agenda, essentially, that blue cities, blue states are inherently just dangerous. They're all dangerous, and they all need to be seized with the National Guard or ICE or whatever you want to put it. Just hammer them with police states. They should all be police states, and Republican cities shouldn't have any National Guard or anything deployed to them. And some people say, well, what's wrong with the National Guard? What's wrong with the military raiding the city if the city's so dangerous? And that right there in itself is a bad point, because nobody wants a police state, obviously. But if it's not so bad, then why wouldn't he deploy them to Memphis and St. Louis and Jackson, Mississippi, right? Why not these red states? There you go. I mean, nobody wants to have a police state, obviously, or the Republicans would be begging for the National Guard to come into their states. They'd be begging if that's what they actually wanted, but nobody wants that. And it's not like they don't need it. They do need it. If Washington D.C. needs it, then St. Louis needs it. Then Memphis needs it. I promise. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out for you guys. You know, just the obvious hypocrisy and the politicization of the situation, of a bad situation, of a outlier situation. What happens in Charlotte, North Carolina? You know, it's just bad, and I think that, you know, it's easily swayed for the, you know, MAGA conservative to start believing that these blue cities and, you know, whatever Chicago, Boston are actually crime ridden, and that's just not the case. I mean, it's just the case is where the crime is St. Louis and Memphis. It's obvious, man. So hopefully they stop politicizing the situation and just call it a tragic mishap, which is what it was, and nothing more of like this political tool that they're making this poor woman out to be. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this one, guys. I'm gonna have all my socials down below, and if you want to donate to independent media like myself, that'll also be down below. But any like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one.